What is going on, and welcome back. What are the best cards currently in Marvel Snap? The Silver Surfer has come to the game, but what are other cards just like him that you can utilize? And most importantly, we have brand new, what looks like busted cards coming to Pool 5 on their way. We're going to break that all down and a whole lot more on today's episode of the Snapchat. And of course, we are joined by none other than Alex. What's up, man? How you doing today? How's the week?
Oh, man, it's been a great week. I'm doing fantastic. I'm sure you are as well. I mean, as I say every single week, Cozy, this is my highlight getting to talk to you about Marvel Snap, a game we both love.
Oh, absolutely. So, guys, if you're new here, we say it all the time, but we've got 3 subjects on my channel and 3 subjects on Alex's. Now, last week was the first ever having this Snapchat podcast and podcast audio format. You can find us on Spotify, Google, and the Apple podcast as well. Alex, pumped that we finally got that out there. It looks like you guys have started to download and support that. We've got the 3 topics on this channel, and I say this every week, but I'm excited to talk about these 3. We've got the best cards in the game currently. I just released a Pool 3 tier list, going through most of them, but I want to talk about if they're all from Pool 3. Are they from Pool 5, 1, or 2? We've got a lot of cards to talk about there. Of course, we have to mention the Silver Surfer, Alex, and we're going to be talking on 2 different parts. On my channel, we're going to talk about the card a little bit and cards that are like him that can boost other cards around them. And then on your channel, not to talk about your subjects, but we'll be talking about, is he broken? Is he busted? How is the Silver Surfer now that we've had our hands on him a little bit? And then lastly, we'll be talking about new cards that have been announced coming to Snap in the month of December. A new card's coming out every week, and it starts off. Alex, the other 2 topics, what are we talking about on your side?
We were talking about the best decks in Marvel Snap right now, which I think is always a fantastic topic. And then finally, I'm really excited about this conversation, are the best turn 1 and 2 openers in Marvel Snap, because we've all been hit by some absolutely crazy openers, and Cozy and I are going to discuss that today.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. I enjoyed that one. The cost, our favorite card at each cost last week was probably my favorite subject there.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
So there's just so much content lately. We've got new patch notes, we have road aheads, and then we obviously have Silver Surfer season starting. Today, in the first subject we'll get to, Alex, is going to be, what are the best cards in Marvel Snap? Now, if you guys haven't seen, I've got the Pool 3 tier list out there, and that thing took me way too long. So not every card is going to be from Pool 3 that are the best in the game. Alex, hit me with a Pool 1, Pool 2 card that you think is amongst the best in the game.
Well, I love the fact that you kind of bring up the fact that, like, not every amazing card is in Pool 3. There are some serious heavy hitters in Pool 1 and 2. And Devil Dinosaur from Pool 1 absolutely dominates the Pool 1 and 2 meta in so many regards. And Devil Dinosaur is an absolutely fantastic card. It's one of the best cards in the game. I mean, when was the last time you saw Devil Dinosaur, Cozy, that was less than 10? Like, pretty much never?
Oh, it's like 11 plus is the usual. And, dude,
yeah,
I agree. I mean, most of when a new card comes out, I slot it into a Devil Dino deck. And how can you make it work to its best? And it's because of the 5 cost, man. For a 5 cost card, you're always getting the value, for the most part, as long as you're not, getting just terrible luck with locations. But yeah, like cards like Thanos just boosted it up a ton. I think Devil Dinosaur is a card that, do you think it should be nerfed, or do you think it's fine?
Well, I don't know. That's actually kind of an interesting conversation because it got changed. It used to be a 4-0, and then it turned into a 5-3. I mean, it's been modified slightly. However, like, it also is countered by multiple things. It's countered by Rogue. It's countered by Enchantress. So it's countered on the ongoing side. It's also countered on the Shang-Chi side. So, I mean, like, it has counters. Like, there's a very straightforward way to deal with Devil Dinosaur. Plus, it's not a closing play. So on turn 5, you see it there, so you can respond on turn 6. If they have turn initiative and they Zola into it and split it up, that's just big sad for you if you threw a Shang-Chi there. But it's one of those cards that has answers, so it doesn't feel broken, but it feels like super powerful all the time. Like, if there's a Devil Dinosaur out there, it has to be dealt with, and I think that's the hallmark of a really good card.
Yeah, I would say it's in my top 5 most used cards, and Devil Dinosaur is up there because of how much I love Thanos and how your hand's always full. So he's in almost every one of my decks now. And I also go back to why I didn't even think Angela maybe needed a nerf, is because I think Pool 1 and 2, they need good cards too. And I think Devil Dinosaur bridges that gap really well. Early Pool 3 decks, 99% of them are Devil Dino builds with additions to them. Love the card. Great first pick for that. And I've got other cards that aren't in pool 3, but we've got a lot we're going to talk about. This will be a longer segment. Let's go ahead and talk about a couple pool 3 staples, and then we'll go back to maybe pool 1 and 2. Quickly, I'm just going to touch up on why we think we should talk about it. We talked about it last week a little bit. Dude, I got to talk about Death. I think Death right now has so much going for her because of where the destroy meta is, location love, and she slots into any deck because of Jubilee and her high power, you know, Lockjaw pulling her out. You don't even have to depend on your own destroys. Things getting destroyed into like what is called the graveyard, like Yondu or this new location counts for her. Dude, Death is getting up there as just one of the most staple cards.
Yeah, it's funny because in my video about Lamentus 1, I actually suggested that I think Death needs to get nerfed eventually. Like, if you're going to keep giving Death these incredible, like, S-tier synergies, it can't be 12 power. Like, it's not hard to get Death out. Then when you consider how good Wave is, like, Death Wave, if you just put Death Wave into a deck and just do anything else, like, it usually just works.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like, she might be one of the most overtuned cards in the game right now. Actually kind of surprised it didn't get nerfed. Like, we were surprised last week about no buffs coming out, but kind of surprised that Death didn't get touched on.
Remember the whole Wave thing I was saying? It's really her interaction with Wave. That's the only thing that feels just super off. Like, and it's even with She-Hulk, man, I'm seeing the same. We predicted it and we're seeing it. Like, we'll talk about that on your side when we talk about best decks of just these cards that can get their cost reduced should they be able to be affected by Wave and have that impact affect their cost reduction as well. I think that's the biggest issue, but Death is by far up there. Now, we won't talk about all of them a ton, but Death is on the top of my list. I also think finally people are starting to understand some cards of what are cards that win you consistent high amounts of cubes, right? Like, what are the cards that give you the big cubes at the end, the surprise power? And that's why I think finally, now that we have more players in a pool 3, they're seeing the absolute hatred of this guy right here. Oh, man. Leader is... I love him. I love to use him. I hate to go against him. Leader is just such an interesting card in the game. Because, yes, you can say, well, just play around him. Not really, man. You can never really know when he's going to come.
Yeah, Leader's one of those cards that's so interesting. Like, really the disadvantage of Leader is you're occupying space on your side of the board where, like, you're just matching their play. But, like, the power of Leader is you essentially, provided you have the space, you just nullify their turn 6 play. Like, it just does it. Like, you just use their cards to your advantage. It's beautiful. Like, it is, like, I think that it's deceptively difficult to play Leader. Like, there are so many ways you can play Leader wrong, but, like, there are so many ways that you can play Leader right. And I think that's what makes Leader so powerful.
As long as you get down placement of cards and how much space you need and prediction. Really, as long as you're great at prediction of what you think the deck your opponent's playing and what their final move is, then Leader is great. If you're bad at that, leave them out of your deck. But also, like, I love when they wave and then you just throw it up and you're like, okay, whatever they do, I'll do what they do plus 4 power, right? It's
awesome.
It's spicy. I think Leader is, again, a card that gives you cubes and versatile with huge impact. That's what we're looking for today.
My favorite move with Leader is play Leader into a Destroyer deck and then blow your whole board up.
I mean, Alex, you are the Mr. Beast of donating cubes, yeah?
I've been called the Mr. Beast of donating cubes. Yes, that is correct.
Just what a charity, man. I applaud that. You're really looking out for the people out there, you know, helping them get to infinite. What a man, guys. What a man.
I can be honest with you, Cozy. Some of these guys, I snap on them with like near impossible win conditions, and they find ways to lose sometimes. It blows my damn mind.
Yeah, you try to be a charity case. You're like, all right, you know what? I can tell this guy's struggling. You know, he just played a Hobgoblin into his Cosmo. Like, help the guy out. You're like, I'll give him a case, and then he does God knows what. But let's talk Mystique. I think at this point, Mystique just kind of like Death keeps getting cards that help her a lot. We've got ongoing cards that really just running her as a staple with Devil Dinosaur or Iron Man is just simple enough. Pool 1, Pool 2, classic. But then also, obviously, she pulls off the Wombo combo. Silver Surfer, just adding incredible value to Mystique now. Because Mystique used to be if you don't have an ongoing card, or maybe she gets played on Sakaar, like, you're like, damn, my Mystique's out there with nothing. At least you can boost her now, you know, with the Surfer. And my favorite thing that I've been doing, bud, is copying Morbius and then hitting her with the Surfer on top of that. It's insane, man. I think Mystique...
Oh, that's good. I like that. I've never done that before.
Oh, it's hot, man. We'll talk about that on the decks on your side, man. The discard Lockjaw Silver Surfer. It's pretty filthy. But I think, I thought Absorbing Man would maybe be the potential of Mystique. Yes and no. He's missing some weird interactions. The 1 extra cost, though, is what's killing. 3 cost is the perfect cost for what she does.
Yeah, because you can combo it on turn 6 with so many different things. The other thing that's worth noting about Mystique is you mentioned this, I think it was last week when you talked about Mr. Negative, how Mr. Negative will always be a problem for balancing.
Always.
Mystique will always be a problem for balancing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I would not be shocked if Mr. Negative in a year's time, maybe less, is -7 power on your side of the board or something like that. His effect is just too good. It's so hard to balance a card the right way and then also have Mr. Negative in play and make him a fun card. And I hope they keep him because I think he's one of the most fun cards when it comes to Snap.
It's funny. I actually don't like playing negative decks.
Some people don't.
I feel like they're slow. I feel like they're stressful. I like the value tempo decks. Like, just let me play my stuff on the right turns and just outvalue a dude and snap at his face. That's what I want to play. Mr. Negative, you have to sweat for every victory. You get them, you win, and you get those 8 cubers, but like, man, you got to work for it. I just want to throw cubes at guys.
Makes sense. I definitely play style, and that's the beauty of Snap, right? I'm gonna throw up a poll right now, Alex, and this is my favorite poll I've ever done on my channel. There was 25k plus votes, and it was, what is your favorite deck to use right now? Of course, I can't put every option. I think I left out move decks and ongoing. It was almost a perfect Thanos approved. Everything is balanced. Almost 25% across the board. A little bit weighted on a couple decks. How beautiful is that in Snap?
That is beautiful.
How
like that's a healthy meta.
It is. It's a healthy meta and it's a healthy game, and I love it. It feels like the balance is really well done on Snap, and I definitely love that. So Mystique is one that I had to bring up. I've got one more, but I want you to give me a couple or one out of pool 3. You got anything else for me?
Out of pool 3. Yeah, I got 2 in pool 3 that I really like. I've talked about these guys a lot, and I feel like both of these guys don't come up very often. The first is Green Goblin. I think Green Goblin is a great card. The only thing holding back Green Goblin and the only real downside is the popularity of destroy decks. If Death gets nerfed and destroy lists become less popular, Green Goblin's stock skyrockets. I think it's a really cool card. I think it's way better than Hobgoblin, for the record. However, there is a time you get to play Hobgoblin, Cozy. You know when that is?
Tell me.
When you drop Daredevil. Daredevil, man. How good is Daredevil? So I mean, tell me, Cozy, how awesome are Daredevil and Green Goblin? Like, am I totally out of whack here? Like, I think these cards are absolutely unreal.
Yeah,
I think they're great.
When we're talking best cards in the game, so Daredevil we talked about last week a lot, and I agree, man. I think Daredevil's just an obvious choice of, again, second to last turn impact. I mean, there's so many cards you can play and that depend on what your opponent's going to do, and that's why he just brings that much value for only 2 costs. Green Goblin, I would say, is a great versatile card. I wouldn't put him towards the best on my list, but I get the case. He fits into pretty much any deck. Giving a -3 spin for only, again, 3 costs, like you brought up, that's huge, man. I definitely think it's a great card, and it's only going to get better. It's great against Galactus. But yeah, dude, Daredevil, he fits even outside of control. Love him to death. Love those picks. You've got a pool 1, pool 2 pick?
I do. I have a pool 2 and a pool 1. I'll hit you with the pool 2 first.
Okay.
I think that Storm is, without question,
Yes.
probably the best pool 2 card. I think it's probably the best card in the game. But I don't say best card in the game. It's one of the best cards in the game. Like, tell me when you don't want to play Storm. It's location correction. It basically makes Scarlet Witch useless.
Yep.
And it gives you so much control over the board state.
Funny enough, if you weren't going to bring up Storm, that was the next one I had. I think Storm right now, if you talk to actually some of the top players, this is one of their biggest issues of a card because it limits, and their main complaint is that they want to play more cards on a card game, right? And Storm and Control gets rid of that. Dude, she works across the board. Storm is so valuable at her cost and what she pulls together and planning ahead and throwing your opponents off guard. Your opponent has a complete plan in mind, and then they're like, well, damn, I've got to now work on flooding. But then if you're winning it, you don't even have to focus. It can just be a booby trap, too. Like, you don't even want to win that lane, or maybe you just boost her up now with Silver Surfer, which is another crazy combo. I would agree Storm is easily in the top 10 best cards across the board. Definitely like the pull.
You know, we have like the Namor kind of cards here. We have like Orca, we have Namor, we have Atuma. Wouldn't it be cool if they could be played in flooded locations? Because I mean, I'm just saying, lore-wise.
Hey,
Could they be played in flooded locations?
That would be. I hope they bring smaller interactions like that, like smaller, like bypassing of the rules per se. I like it. What a pull, man! Because Orca looks like a kind of a garbage.
How
card.
does Orca not? How is an Orca not capable
It's
of
damn
handling a flooded location?
Yeah, how does Shamu not go into flood? Exactly, man. That's If we're talking about accuracy,
Free Willy.
I agree. Free Willy, Shamu. It's all great. I think Shamu's like canceled now, right? Let's great pull on the Storm Talk here. Now,
What, my other one?
yeah, give me your other one, and I hope
Okay.
it's the one I think it is.
Are you hitting 6? You
I'm
hitting 6?
Yeah, I'm
We're
hitting
going
six.
to 6.
I'm hitting six. Yep, no question.
It's America Chavez. Like, how is this card? Like, this card's amazing. First of all, for those who may not realize, it used to be a 6'10", got nerfed in beta. Still damn good. 6'9", unbelievable card. I think this card is literally ridiculous. The deck thinning kind of value of it is insane. Has so much synergy with another amazing card like you have Dracula synergy. You have there's just it's countless. I can go on forever about how damn good this card is. Cozy, like seriously, if you just don't know what to put in a deck, you just throw Chavez in.
Yep.
It works. It just
Yep.
does its job.
Chavez was my favorite 6 cost from last week. Definitely one of the most cards that I utilized across all my decks. Thinning out your deck, giving yourself even a 6% chance better is why not? Why would you not give yourself that chance? And then just always having the 9 power play, right? So doing those 2 things at once, 2 birds, 1 stone, couldn't agree more. The last one I want to end on here and talk about is one that I had actually on my pull 3 tier list in the A tier, just because I didn't quite make the extra power case to why this card should be amongst the best. But Silver Surfer alone might have just changed my mind. And not that I didn't think it was a great card before that, but now I think it really boosted up Alex towards the top. It's the good boy. It's the good boy himself. It's the good boy himself. Lockjaw, man. Lockjaw, what he does is just so impeccable. I mean, making On Reveal skyrocket the way it does, or just having like a constant Jubilee shuffle, or being able to get, crazy wombo combos out there, and now that we're seeing even more power. On Reveal, I think, is going to be the token ability that they go to over there at Second Dinner. So I think he's always going to be useful. Lockjaw, man, is one of my favorites, and I probably have him in 18 of my 20 builds right now.
I think that your perception of Lockjaw is being slightly slanted and biased towards how good this variant is.
I mean, I can't argue that. I mean, it's
Lockjaw's incredible.
Lockjaw is another card that's just like Arrow that I will just buy the variant. Like just give me the variant because the main one's great.
Is that a Dan Hip variant?
This one is a Dan Hip. Yep, Dan Hip.
Yeah.
It fantastic. In fact, there was a Venom one that I missed out on. I was sad, but I was only going to use this one. No question about it, buddy. So yes,
that's an amazing variant.
Lockjaw is definitely up there on our list. So those are gonna be the main ones we wanted to talk about. There's definitely others that we could bring up. My girl Arrow. I don't have to talk about her on every show, Alex. All right.
You just did again, so.
I had to. Okay. All right. I lost a bet. So let's move to our next subject. As you guys know, the Silver Surfer has landed into the game, and I think a lot of people at first thought he would be kind of a gimmicky, fun card. And now we're starting to see the true potential. And I think if you see any card come out with a 3-0 stat line, just assume it's going to be busted. Because that is what they do for cards with great abilities that don't need a lot of help in the power department. I love Silver Surfer because he completely works with already what I like to play in Snap. Initial impressions. I know we're talking about is he broken on your side, but initial impressions.
My initial impressions are, first of all, saying Silver Surfer is way too hard for me. I'm gonna call him Surfer from now on. I can't. It's like a tongue twister, man.
I'm good with it.
I can't say it. But the thing I really will say is that, like, when Sarah got nerfed to 5/4, I think people expected it, but now we really understand why. Because, like, do you have any idea how broken, like, completely game-shattering this card, Silver Surfer, would have been had Sarah remained at 5/5? The amount of value you get on turn 6, oh my gosh. This card is so good. It's so good. I actually think it's good, but not just that the card itself is good. I think the card is balanced. It's the synergies that exist that make this card wild. And it's the Sarah synergy, I think.
And that is what is perfect about what we're talking about. We're talking about the synergy behind it, and then we'll talk about cards that do the same kind of role as Silver Surfer and what I think are my favorite kind of cards. We won't talk about Lockjaw again, but I think he's kind of in that boat. I agree, dude. I think Silver Surfer, just gave instant value, right? I said it on my Silver Surfer and Death Guide. Surfer, whatever we want to call it. 3-cost cards had great abilities. What were they lacking? A little bit of oomph. A little bit of power, a little bit of oomph. Some of them weren't even missing that. And I've been able to find so many decks, in fact, that I think that's why I'm so mad about that new location that's out, the featured one, because I want to play these other decks that I value. But yeah, definitely Sarah making them all 2-cost is just wicked. He's a great addition. 3 powers, nothing to scuff at. Absorbing Man. I've gotten twice the use out of him since he's come out because of the way the synergy works. Love the Surfer. And again, we're going to talk about him more in your video. What I want to talk about is why I think he's so good is what you said. He boosts all of a sudden all the 3-card departments, right? All of a sudden you can look at your 3 costs and you're like, okay, cards I wouldn't even look twice at, like Brood, I can now use. Do you have any cards at the top of your head that do the similar role to what Surfer does?
I think the thing that's standing out to me, and I don't want to derail your question because I'm not quite answering it, but the thing that really stands out to me is how Silver Surfer changed the design landscape of decks. And we'll come back to your initial question, but this is what's on the top of my mind.
Okay.
Is that like you build Silver Surfer decks, you don't even need a 6-cost card because you're like, no man, I'm playing more 3s. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy how one card can completely change the way you deck build. And it's not like an archetype defining card. Like it's a Cerebro. It's not a negative. It just changes the way you use what you already have. It's similar to, I see it like similar to Patriot, where like Patriot, you take cards that felt kind of useless. You had the Misty Knights, the Cyclops, and like suddenly like they breathe new life into these cards. Yeah. And Silver Surfer feels like it does the same thing.
I think people understand Sarah Miracle way more now that he's out. This makes it painfully obvious how good that is, like you were saying, because it's true. You don't need big raw stat numbers, right? You don't got to be the biggest guy in the gym to win the deck because, power in numbers, right? Power in overall numbers. And you're right. I think that, again, what he just adds to the versatility-wise, and he brought up Patriot. That was going to be one of the cards I brought up as far as just cards that boost other cards. He's obviously a fantastic example. The fact that Patriot and Surfer work together, and it works awesome. In fact, it's a perfect replacement for not having Ultron. You don't even have to have Ultron in the deck for it to be super competitive because a lot of the powerful non-ability cards, Cyclops and some of the other ones, are going to get both of the benefits. So I love what you said there. Cerebro. But then if we're talking about not having a 6-cost option, another card that does it in a similar fashion, and which is why we're seeing it so much around really all the meta, I think some people even want him to be a 2-cost because of the way it interacts, is Nova and Killmonger. It's the same thing. It's the power in numbers. It's the big play at the end. It's a card that quite literally boosts all the other cards on the board. And so it's combos like this, the Silver Surfer, the Absorbing Man play, the Nova, the Killmonger play, Patriot Mystique, like we just talked about. These are the cards that I think are the most exciting to come to Snap because it's not pigeonholing you. It's not saying, hey, if you don't have Arnim Zola, Black Panther's not going to be quite the card that it could be. It's like creativity, to the max. Would you agree that these type of cards are probably the healthiest, especially for season passes?
I do. At the same time, it's one of those things where I think the major challenge with Silver Surfer is that it has the magic problem. Magic, when you played it on 6, when it was unexpected, was game breaking. And Silver Surfer, as a 3-play, can be played as the last card, as the 3rd card on a turn 6 miracle combo. And that is kind of, I think, what makes it super strong, because you see the 3s come out and you're like, okay, is it Silver Surfer or is this guy just not a good draw? And then Sarah comes out, but you're like, Sarah is so good in so many decks anyway. And then all of a sudden it's like 3 cards come and Silver Surfer's like, hey, you thought you were winning lanes? Nope.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it is such a good closer. It's such a good closer. It closes. Like, it almost closes like Spectrum for half the cost.
So Spectrum...
And it actually gives a +1.
Yep.
It's +1 over Spectrum.
Spectrum was going to be the last card I brought up here, and I think that's a great point. Here's the deal that I want to bring up. This could almost be its own subject. We could talk about maybe on another Snapchat. But when we're talking about just in general, recognizing decks is legit half the battle as a player of Snap.
Yeah,
and decks do a lot better when they come out because people aren't expecting them. I think Galactus is a perfect point. You find the decks that work the best And nowadays, I'm sorry, guys, when I see a Wolverine or a Sabretooth in the pool bracket that I'm in, I know what you're doing. I know that Galactus, I'm going to save my lane. I know Galactus. I've now called out Galactus all the time. It's why I think Destroyer ongoing is a good deck, but I don't think it's insanity all the time because there are ways to identify early what they're trying to do. And so I think Silver Surfer, it's the same case. If you see Brood, it's Patriot or Surfer. Just get over it. Like that's exactly what you're going to see. And so you just have to know when to retreat or calculate and be like, I think I can win this. But that's the biggest tip I would give to people for climbing consistently is by playing, by really understanding the cards, Alex.
Yeah, 100%. And actually, we talked about Chavez prior, and like it's saving your cubes is huge too, because Chavez, for instance, we talked about why it's so good. It also allows you to know what you're getting on turn 6 all the time. So you know, like, hey, it's turn 5. I'm getting Chavez next. Is this like a definite losing scenario? Is if he snaps on turn 5, like, do I have the abilities to actually make up with just the Chavez draw?
Yep.
It helps you make really defined decisions. And I think that's one of the things that makes the card so good. But you hit it on the head, man. It's like, you're right. Like, conserving your cubes is one of the secrets to actually ranking up. Like, you're going to lose games. Just don't lose 8 cubes when you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. And I think really with that, what would you say on turn 6 this is just a great separate subject, but what would you say on turn 6 are the cards that you are always like rolling through your head? Like, it could be this. It could be this. I know it's more deck defiant, but like, or dependent. But what are the cards that I'm like, all right, like Dr. Doom. I always add +5 across the board because I'm like, okay, it could be that last minute play.
For me, it's always leader.
Okay.
And I'm too lazy to do the calculation in my head. I'm always just scared of them.
YOLO
just
roll
like,
it.
Oh, leader wins. Leader wins. In my head, I'm like, leader wins. Like, that enters my mind like 45 times a night. Leader's gonna win here.
Okay, I like it. And I'm sure that same thought haunts plenty of pool 3 players at this point. It was so funny. I was waiting. Like, I did a poll on like, who do you hate the most? Like, and it was like Shang-Chi, Enchantress, and I'm like, Cosmo, and I'm like, these young puppies. Come sit on daddy's lap and let me tell you. Let me tell you about leader. Yeah, now that they're there, I think people truly understand. And then Chavez is like the easy one, right? Like, okay, or even Magneto. I kind of go to 12. I don't go above 12 too much. Destroyer, Agatha.
Yeah.
But you kind of see those coming. All right, so Alex, let's go to the last subject of today, and that is going to be brand new cards that are coming. They said they want to bring cards every single week, which I thought was crazy. And they're already doing it. We've got 3 new cards coming, all in December. 2 of us hitting us the week of Christmas, 1 next week. And they're all going to Pool 5, which I think is a separate conversation. You're not going to have every card in the game. I think we know that as a creator. I know that. Even if you spend, it's still hard. But let's talk about the cards. Audio listeners, we're going to describe the cards. Maybe not the pictures as much, but what they do.
I'll do the pictures.
Oh, yeah. Love it. I look forward to that. So if you look at the cards coming, Alex, we've got ourselves Null, Sentry, the Void, and Darkhawk. Now, let's go ahead and start out with the Null. The Null is going to be hitting us on December 13th of next week. And I want to start with this card because I have all my tokens saved up. They're saved up. I've passed on so many cards in my token shop because of this guy. His ability is a 6 cost, 0 power card. Ongoing ability of he has the combined power of every card destroyed in this game. Alex, we just talked about death. We just talked about why she is so freaking useful. This card combined with Galactus. This card combined as a turn 7 play for the Destroyer decks out there. Destroyer, I'm glad he had a 2-week summer vacation. He's back. Right? So this card, I think, is going to be, because of the meta of Destroy, good luck, bud. Good luck.
Yeah, first of all, for the audio listeners, basically, it looked like Spooder Woman, except venomized almost.
It looked like who?
Like a deathy Spider Woman with venomization.
Yep, that's
fair.
But
one thing I will say is that it's also a huge buff to Killmonger. Like, think about that for a second. Like, there's so much synergy. You're right. Like, the amount of synergy is absolutely insane. Like, it seems completely and utterly broken. Like, it seems like a very strong card. Like, a very, very strong card.
This is the first where I'm like, well, hot damn. This is a must buy. This is a must buy. Because here's the thing, too. You could be like, well, Cozy, What if they destroy all these cards and you're playing a control deck? You could just play Null and counter what they did. They're going to be running Null as well. It counts for both sides. And so you bet you can guarantee you're going to be seeing Wave Death Null. Or Wave, Wave Death Null is probably going to be the play. Because why not? Or Galactus, bro. Or Destroyer. I think Destroyer might be the craziest.
Because it's an ongoing ability too, right? So anything you continue to destroy should ramp it. Am I wrong in saying that? It's an ongoing, is it not?
It's ongoing. And
yeah, so it's going to keep ramping. So if you wave it out again, so is wave the actual problem here?
Well, no.
Is it wave?
No, here's the thing. You ready for this? I'm going to bring up the graphic one more time. This is perfect going into all the previous conversations we've had on today's podcast. Tell me, what is his cost? What is that? It's 6, yeah?
It's 6.
What's his power?
It's 0.
What does Mr. Negative do?
Why'd you have to bring it up?
Bro.
Broken.
Free play. If you pull it. If you do the negative combo and it works out. Arnim Zola was already like, wow. Iron Man, wow, you got another 6-0. Because of course they can't give the guy power. Of course they can't. You know?
Yeah.
I don't...
To be shattered.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think him as a card's exciting. I think he's a fun card. He's a must-buy. I've saved up my tokens. But again, we reached that wave, Mr. Negative. And I don't want to crap. I think the meta and the power play is really well. Locations mix up a lot. I get all that, guys. But this is what's insane. We're going to need a lot of Shang-Chi's, hoping you have the late priority to take care of this card, buddy.
Yeah.
Or
technically
leader.
Countered by both Rogue, hugely by Rogue, actually, because you basically take the effect. And Enchantress, of course, too. But like Rogue, low-key massive buff here.
I'm glad you brought that up.
With Rogue?
Yeah, Rogue, I was thinking, is killer with this one, because he could just you could just take it for only 3 cost. But the problem is, I would say, is if they go last on turn 7 or turn 6, that's where you're kind of dealing with the issues. But yeah, dude, I agree, because if they play this card on another lane that they didn't play, let's say Destroyer, and you rogue that, all of a sudden you just won that lane. You're probably winning one other lane. They were hoping on really probably not their setup armor lane, but more of the Destroyer lane and Null lane. So I agree. I think Rogue definitely gets a lot of value. Great call there. But dude, I'm already seeing Mr. Negative followed by Mystique. Have fun. Howdy day. That's going to be a nightmare to deal with. Or even Null, Arnim Zola, both free plays. 2 Nulls. I don't know. Craziness. Let's go to the next card. That's a must buy, just in case you guys want to know. So our next card that is coming out, Alex, and this card will be coming on December 20th. We've got Sentry, or the Sentry, who looks like a super buff. Alex, you want to do your job here? What are you seeing out of him?
It basically looks like a super buff Fabio looking guy wearing a belt with an S on it and a blue cape.
Yeah, I was going to say definitely like Days of Our Lives, soap opera television, but like superhero version of that. And then no copyright to have S on the chest, so he has S on the belt. We've got 4 cost, 8 power card. Okay, strong power, right? Let's talk about what he does. He can't be played on the right location, so a little bit of a Giganto feel. On reveal, add a -8 power void to the right location. So he's played on the left, and on the right, guess what, Alex? Free Hobgoblin. But here's the catch. It's on your side. So that's going to be how you're going to have to work out the power of him. And I think cards like Viper stand out to me right away. But obviously, you could play Destroy cards just to get rid of them, right? What are some synergies you like? I think he's a fun card. I think a 4/8 is insane. But talk to me. What do you feel about our boy here?
All right, what this card is a straight up buff to Bar with No Name on the right location.
What a situational perfect storm.
0.0001% chance
Busted.
option, but
Busted.
hey, I'm not wrong. It's a buff.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I like it. Okay, all right. You have any other synergy
Yeah,
over there,
definitely a
Cowboy?
huge Viper buff for sure. I think Viper's a great play there, and I don't know. It's wild. I mean, you only need to win 2 lanes, right? Like you only need to win 2 lanes.
So just don't.
So it's not crazy to give one.
I agree. Or just the old Cosmo. Cosmo's 3. He's a 4. Bang bang.
Yeah.
Just playing both
But
together.
Destroyer will destroy that anyway. If you have a Bucky Barnes over there in that lane, and you're playing a Destroyer list, just blow it up anyway.
Yeah. Again, I think the Destroyer took off, put his sunglasses on, put his feet up. He was like, man, I got buffed a whole 1 power, and now he's just gonna come back in full force, bro. Like he's got 2 cards now that I think help that version of the deck. No question. So definitely enjoy that one. I think that'll be interesting. The cool thing about this is that he's coming out, but at the same exact time, The other cards coming out on December 20th for Christmas week, we've got Darkhawk. And Darkhawk got changed. Darkhawk was not this cost or this ability. Ongoing ability, +2 power for each card in your opponent's deck. So here's the deal, guys. You might be reading this, and first of all, let me hand it to Alex here. Alex, what are you seeing from this guy?
It's a very interesting card.
No, description.
I feel like I need more time to really like. This is the one of the other, like the other ones I understood immediately. This was the one that I'm like, there's obvious synergies, but also I think there's something deeper here that Ben Brode is like thinking, you know what? I bet you no one's thinking about how Darkhawk's gonna do this.
Right.
And I feel like it's one of those cards that has like some sneaking, like someone's gonna have like a eureka moment that breaks the meta. And I'm not sure what it is yet, but it feels like that kind of card.
Yeah, you know, Alex, I really set you up. I thought you were gonna describe him for us. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for it. Okay. What? Give our audio listeners a little sweet early Christmas present.
Okay. It looks like Angel except RoboCop.
Done. Hey, hit the nail on the head on that one. Yeah, let's talk about him. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's a fun card. I think essentially, guys, your brain might be thinking at first, oh, it's Ronin. It's the same thing. No, because it's about the deck, not the hand size, right? But I do think it might build into that kind of archetype of like what your opponent has. 4 cost is a lot for something you can't control. It's kind of the same problem Ronin runs into. I think this might set up future cards, right? Like cards that add to your opponent's deck. Like Thanos, this card would be great to play against Thanos. But mostly, if you see Subterranea, dude, just throw this baby down. This is a instant value on Subterranea. And we're seeing decks get bigger, not smaller. So I think it's an interesting card to add. Series 5, it's a hard pass for me as far as tokens go.
Yeah, for tokens wise, it is. But I mean, it's a huge buff for Korg and Rockslide. Like Rockslide needed something.
Yeah,
and now you got this.
Yep, that's a good point. Yeah, I would say those two. Is there any other cards that off the top of your head add to the opponent's deck?
No, those were the two immediately off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think those are the ones I'm thinking too. It's more locations, right? We've got like Vibranium lines and stuff is what I'm thinking of. But yeah, so I think those are fun. I think out of all of them, guys, I wouldn't even blink or bat an eye. Noel needs to be the first purchase you get out of these new cards. Right now, I would think Bost or Based, we still struggle on the name, is up there on the list as well, depending on what you play. Noel is great. She-Hulk is still what I consider a must-buy. And then Thanos and Galactus because... which one of these you buying first, buddy?
You know what? I feel like I like Sentry the best, even though I think Null's the best. Null is the best one.
Yeah.
But I feel like my playstyle, I like Sentry.
Yep. I think, yeah, same here. For my playstyle, I think it's a fun one. And then Super Scroll, by the way, if you guys got him, definitely Noel is going to be fantastic to go ahead and match what he does too. So there you go.
I bought Super Scroll.
Yeah. Have you used him since?
Nope.
Who's your, like, this isn't even a subject, but we'll end on this. Who's, the token shop's been around now. Biggest regret, favorite card that you've gotten? Both sides. Just one quick answer.
I've regretted all my purchases. Cozy, I'm sorry. I gotta be honest. I'm not gonna sit here and lie.
And She-Hulk?
I bought Papa Thanos. And okay, we gotta bring this up again. Are we gonna do this again? Because the other week you told me Papa Thanos was gonna carry us to infinite.
Uh-huh.
Papa Thanos is carrying me into sadness.
He's taking me there.
I think this card still sucks, man.
It's because he knows you're talking crap about him. It's because he knows. He's like, I'm not giving this guy any of my damn stones. Alex,
man,
none of them.
No kidding. I don't never get a stone. I just want stones, man.
God. All right.
Just give me a stone.
Right. What's your favorite card you've pulled? You got to tell me one that you like.
I pulled Nicolas Cage, which is really exciting. But it took me almost 40 reserves. I got one card in 40 reserves, Cozy.
Hey, let me show you this. Because I'm over here, like, I need to be a content creator. I need to go ahead and try to get more cards, right? And guess what? I've been blessed from M'Baku and Hill, right?
Nice.
As my first two. And I want to show you my collection track, Alex. Look at this. Here we are. Here's my latest polls. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, that's a variant. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're still going. 14, that was a variant. 15, 16, 17. I'm above 20. I'm above 20. Above 25. Still going. There's M'Baku. Dude,
That's gross.
I don't know.
I did my opening live on stream. I'm not making this up. We opened 37 reserves. I pulled Nicolas Cage, which I was really excited about. That's it. 37 reserves. I got one card, man.
Ugh.
One card.
Dude, that's so rough. I mean, it's so
Like,
much worse than I thought.
it was rough. It felt terrible. I was like, no way. And it was live on stream, man. If you don't believe me, the archive's there. It was a lot of crates.
I've got to say, I've like social media because I see people like, guys, you won't believe it, back-to-back Thanos Galactus pulls, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go cry.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, hey. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed today's podcast. We're going to be doing the other 3 topics on Alex's channel. All those are great discussions as well. More deck focus, and then also talk about Silver Surfer and the best turns 1 and 2. As always, appreciate you guys. If you haven't and you still even listened, if you watched this video, great. But it helps us out a lot if you go listen to it on Spotify. Listen to it twice. Maybe you missed something. Maybe you missed Alex's beautiful descriptions you could play on repeat of the cards. Alex, thanks for joining me again, buddy.
No, buddy, it's an absolute pleasure being here as always. Thank you so much for having me on the channel. And guys, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you guys for coming. Have a great one. And until then, happy snapping.